What's the latest, Josh? You mentioned that security breach that saw the Atlantic's Josh Goldberg added to a group chat on Signal discussing airstrikes in Yemen. What more have we found out about that in the last 24 hours?
So we're still trying to figure out exactly how this happened, specifically how Jeffrey Goldberg got on the Signal chat. Now, Rita, there's multiple things going on here. There are some people that are having a meltdown because high-ranking officials were using Signal, the app itself. There, I don't actually have a tremendous issue with that. To be honest with you, it was actually the Biden administration that basically installed Signal on government devices there. All else considered, Signal actually is among the more secure and encrypted messaging apps out there. So I think those people are frankly barking up the wrong tree. The question that I still am waiting to hear a cogent and coherent answer on is how a left-wing professional activist posing as a journalist like Jeffrey Goldberg somehow found his way into a group chat with people like Mike Waltz, JD Vance. It's obviously not a good look. I mean, we should not pretend like it is. It's obviously a terrible look. This could have gone horrifically wrong in
Terrible.
about a million different ways there. In my opinion, what the administration should do is stop issuing it's kind of only semi-coherent crisis communications. You should basically just have a fall guy, figure out how this happened. Maybe he's a Mike Waltz staffer in the NSA's office. Make that guy the fall guy, fire him, vow to do better next time. And at that point, I think the story's over.
I think there needs to be some sort of accountability because this is a stuff up. And you're right, Jeffrey Goldberg is a far left activist masquerading as a journalist and editor. He was pushed all sorts of disinformation, including the
Yes.
Fine People hoax, the Suckers and Losers hoax. There's a whole bunch of them going back several years. So for him to be the one who's inadvertently added to this list in particular is just wild. Now, let's go to a report from CBS into what is happening in Boston. Tom Homan, the Trump administration's border czar, accused authorities in Boston of releasing illegal immigrants charged with violent crimes, releasing them back into the community. And it turns out that CBS found plenty of examples of this. We've got just a few to mention here. We had a Guatemalan charged with 3 counts of aggravated child rape, released on $7,500 bail, Josh. Another man charged with aggravated child rape. The victim's age was 9 or below. Again, $7,500 bail. Others released with 0 bail, including a Honduran charged with assault, robbery, released on his own reconnaissance with 0 bail. So many other examples there. Someone charged with fentanyl trafficking, released on a $4,000 bond before ICE could even arrive. How many other cases are like this across the country where authorities are frustrating what ICE is trying to do, what the Trump administration is attempting to do, and releasing these dangerous people back into the community on small bond or no bond to continue with their criminality?
So first of all, let me point out that this is in Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. You mentioned a fentanyl trafficker. This actually hits home on a very personal note. My cousin, may his memory be a blessing, actually overdosed and died from fentanyl in Massachusetts about 7 years ago. So this story actually hits pretty home for me, actually, that Massachusetts authorities are letting free actually the kind of people, in this case, the kind of illegal aliens, the likes of which tragically resulted in my cousin's overdeath 7 years ago there. So this is just horrific stuff. Massachusetts is a Democrat-governed state. It's been a Democrat state for longer than I've been alive. I fear, Rita, that this is actually pretty common throughout the United States, especially in these far left jurisdictions, places like Massachusetts and California. I mean, Gavin Newsom's kind of sort of changing his tune a little bit there. No one should believe a darn thing the guy says, but you're still going to have some very far left holdouts like the city of Boston, like the city of Chicago, Illinois there. Fundamentally, as a matter of constitutional law, it is the United States federal government that has the duty to enforce the federal immigration laws, and the state governments are not allowed to undermine the enforcement of those immigration laws there. Now, they cannot necessarily be forced to do so, but you could actually offer some very clever carrot and stick. So, for instance, the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi can basically condition all federal funding of local police departments, because the federal government does subsidize a lot of local police departments. You can say, we're only going to give you that funding on the condition that you actively assist us with federal immigration enforcement. That's the kind of clever policymaking that I would like to see a little bit more of, to try and put these so-called sanctuary jurisdictions back in their place.
Josh Hammer, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Rita.